Hi, everybody. Welcome to the SPARCC session Games and Slides. My name is Emily Thomas, and I'm a technology integrationist from Minneapolis, Minnesota. You can get a hold of me with my email address, ethomas@916schools.org, or connect with me on social media, Twitter or Instagram at EKTEdTech. If you'd like a copy of these slides, you can grab them at bit.ly/slides games SPARCC22. So that's capital S, capital G, all capital SPARCC22. All right, let's get into the presentation. So I started my career in education as a German teacher and then made my way into the world of tech integration by starting out as the unofficial office guru, as many people do, and then getting a full-time job working as a tech integrationist. So I am a Google certified trainer and coach and an ISTE certified educator. And the ISTE standards that are going to be addressed in this presentation is the Education Designer Standard 2.5B, Designing Authentic Learning Activities, and the Educator Facilitator Standards, Managing the Use of Technology in Student Learning Strategies, and Modeling and Nurturing Creativity and Creative Expression to Communicate Different Ideas. So let's dig right into it. This session is going to talk about 4 different things: why play games, really quick kind of background information about games and creativity and creative play, looking at some game templates, building those awesome Google Slides skills, and then how you can build your own game. So why play games? This all is adapted from a fantastic presentation by Lindsay Blass, Greg Eilers, and Kate Tolnai at ISTE 2022 called Power Up Your Classroom Relationships, How to Nurture Joy Through Gameplay. So really fantastic session. If you have the ability to go watch it, I strongly recommend it because they're all fantastic educators and presenters. Just took some little pieces of theirs and adapted it to this presentation. So the theory of gameplay: if we leverage the power of gameplay and learning and empower teachers as designers of game-based learning experiences, then learners will experience deeper engagement, becoming agents and owners of their learning experience, so that they become lifelong learners actively seeking opportunities for creative problem solving. Which is very true, but in other words, if we play games in the classroom, students will become more engaged and confident so that they slay at life, which I think is true. I think games are really powerful and really have a lot of ways that students can engage and become more confident and give them positive opportunities to fail forward and give them lots of opportunities for success. It also stimulates dopamine production, which is, of course, the happy hormone. It stimulates the hippocampus, which is linked to memory, which is very important in school. And it prepares the brain to learn, which there's an article linked here about how video games activate the brain in different ways, which is super, super interesting if you would like to kind of go a little bit deeper on the learning sciences and brain research of games. So gameplay fosters creative skills. We kind of know that as a fact. So how essential are those creative skills in school and then in life after graduation, after school? So this is a research study that was done by the Adobe Institute, and this is found that Gen Z, our current high school students, value creativity. The majority of them, 89%, think it's going to play a critical role in solving the world's problems. 85% think it'll be critical to their success. So really think that creativity is a critical skill. And so educators of those same students agree. 97% believe that it is important for students to learn creative problem solving in school. So this is great. So what does that mean for employers? So this in the employment world, this institute analyzed 2 million job postings and resumes and found that about 71% of them valued communication, 50% listed creativity as a required skill, and 41% listed collaboration. All 3 of these you, of course, practice and build and develop through playing games. So these are all excellent skills, and games are an excellent way to develop those skills. And maybe most importantly is A quote from one of my favorite books as I was a child. Did you ever fly a kite in bed? Did you ever walk with 10 cats on your head? Did you ever milk this kind of cow? Well, we can do it. We know how. If you never did, you should. These things are fun, and fun is good. Dr. Seuss, but fun is good, and I think that's kind of the key. This should be fun. Learning should be fun. So let's make some fun for our students. Let's start with something. We're going to start easy with some game templates, things that are already put together for you, so you don't have to do a lot of digging to get them yourself. So my favorite spot to find templates, in fact, this template that I'm using in this presentation is from Slides Mania. They have tons and tons and tons of free Google Slide and PowerPoint. If you're a PowerPoint user, templates for you. There are planners, seasonal and other themed ones. There's some choice boards. There's ones that are created for teachers by teachers. And of course, most importantly for this presentation, games. So I've linked here some of the game templates at Slides Mania. So let's go over there and take a quick look at some of their options. So tons and tons of games in here. Just a quick scroll through just so you kind of get an idea of how many there are. Tons, even a second page. And we'll go to this cute little frog-tastic one. When I click on it, of course, we get an ad. All free things are not entirely free, right? And then I have some examples, and as I scroll down, instructions on how to use the template. And finally, I can preview the template in Google Slides here. Let's minimize this ad at the bottom so we can see a little more of it. There we go. And I can scroll through and see all of the different slides. So it looks like they're jumping back and forth like a frog does. And I can download the PowerPoint or open up the template in Google Slides. And then I can actually save that to my Google Drive so that I can use it again and again, and I don't have to re-download it. So that's super great and a super fantastic way to get these great templates. So we'll come back over to this presentation and we'll take a quick look at Slides Go, which has some additional games templates. I don't think they're quite as good, but they do have them as well over here. So here we go. A couple of options over here. So excellent ways to get those templates and just quickly build a game in your classroom. Okay, so let's look at a couple of examples of ones that have kind of already built up and put together for you so you can really see what it looks like. Oh, before we do that, excuse me for getting the order of my own presentation. We'll talk about how you can actually use these by importing the slide templates. It is super easy to add those templates. You click on Import Theme, you select the theme from your Google Drive, select the theme in that presentation if there happens to be more than one, and click Import Theme. I will do a live demo of this in just a couple of minutes when I pop out of presentation mode and show you how to do all of these great tips and tricks in Google Slides. Okay, so here I have a Jeopardy board. It is, of course, a classroom staple. I love Jeopardy. Who doesn't love Jeopardy? So I built up one question just as an example. We've got the category of Märchen, which of course is fairy tales. When I click on the $100 question, we get the question, Dornröschen's downfall. And of course, we'd give some students an answer time. And when we click to see the answer, we see that it is, what is a rose? And of course, Dornröschen is Sleeping Beauty. She was pricked by the thorn of a rose. And then when I click see board, I would go then back to the board and we could go on to the next question. So I only did one example just to really quickly show you what it looks like, but you could, you will of course fill them all in and link them all together. So let's pop ahead here to the next one. So another idea is sort of this Candyland style board game where it's just got your classic colored squares. Students either roll a physical dice on their desk in your classroom, or you can have them roll some digital dice either from a website, or there's actually a quick tutorial in the instructions for this particular example on Slides Mania that shows you how to set up a dice that rolls right inside the slides. And then they land on a particular number. This one is the activity 2. And then would have a link to a video instruction for the students to follow along and do. There's an opposite side of the card. So you could have a hint on the back or something like that, and then they'd move on to the next activity. So a great way to just have a little bit of a game that has students doing a bunch of different activities. This would work great in so many different classrooms. I've seen some Phi-Ed teachers use this to have students do kind of a different set of practice activities and movement activities, but you could definitely use it in absolutely any classroom and with pretty much any age group, just changing the different activities that students are doing. This one's really fun. This is a Guess Who game. So students can either play against each other or have sort of students versus class or two large group teams, however you want to break it up, and have students ask questions to determine which character they're trying to identify. Of course, this is The Great Gatsby, so they'd have to figure out the different Great Gatsby characters that are being discussed after reading the novel. I left the top row blank just so you could see how the template comes. It just has this sort of blank little spot, and then when you right click, or if you're a Mac user, when you control click, you can then replace the image like it says on the slide, and then it will shape it perfectly to those little sort of card looking tiles so that you don't have to worry about shaping it, which of course we love. Work smarter, not harder. Another really fun game is Trivial Pursuit. So you can add your question in and then have two different options for the students to pick, and then they would select the answer going to either a right or a wrong slide and then moving on from there. So really kind of simple game, but still really fun, and a quick little timer GIF that runs just as you're playing to kind of keep it going. And finally, another school classic, Two Truths and a Lie. So I put one together for you really quick here. So I have 3 facts about me. 2 of them are true. 1 of them is false. See if you can guess correctly. I'll give the correct answer at the end of the presentation. So my facts are: Emily's favorite pastime is knitting or crocheting with her dog Millie. Emily started learning German at the age of 7 and never stopped. Emily is a champion jigsaw puzzler and has won 3 competitions. So see if you can figure out which one of those 3 is false, and I'll let you know at the end. Okay. So we've done a lot of looking at other things that people have created. What if you want to make your own, or how do we actually make all of these awesome games work? So let's get in and dig into some slide skills. So we've got a nice blank slide, and I am going to exit presentation mode, and we'll be in edit mode now. We're going to make this nice and big so that everybody can see it. So we'll get rid of our speaker notes a little bit. There we go. Now it's nice and big, so everyone can see what we are doing. So for the most part, everything that you're going to want to add in slides is going to be under the insert menu. So we'll start working through our insert menu, and then I'll show a couple of other tricks as we're going along. So in the insert menu, the first thing is inserting an image. You have a lot of options. You can upload something from your computer, add something from your Google Drive, or search the web for an option. For this example, we're just going to use a quick search the web here, and I am going to search for Border Collie because I think Border Collies are absolutely adorable. This looks like a lovely dog. I'm going to click on it and click Insert. The great part about using that search is Google is only going to search for fair use images, so you don't have to worry about copyright with any of those images, which is a great way for students to practice their digital citizenship and only using fair use images. Okay, so I've got a couple of options that I can do with this image. I can use the cropping tool to crop it by dragging in some of the edges. And it's just going to crop however I drag, so we'll just kind of make this a nice little square. Be careful, sometimes if you grab it incorrectly, it adjusts it weird. Don't worry, nothing is broken. We're just going to use our undo button and try again. There we go, got it that time. And we'll just trim up the bottom by the paws a little bit. There we go, perfect. When I'm done, I can click it again and it will be, now it's cropped a little bit. I can use the corners to drag and it will keep the same aspect ratio, so you don't get the, well, we'll just do it to show the funny stretched looking dog, or worse, a person's face. Again, our undo button is our best friend. And then One other cropping tool that some people forget about is if you click on the little arrow next to your cropping tool, so our crop tool, this little arrow, we can actually crop to a particular shape. So if I want to crop this photo to be a circle, I can do that. So now I can crop this just to be a circle of the dog's head. So let's do that together. So we're actually going to go undo this full-size crop here because I want to be able to move my circle to just get the dog's face. Here we go. And then when I'm done, again, I click on the crop, and now I have a circle crop of this very cute little dog. Perfect. Love it. All right. Another thing you can do is use, this is the replace image that I mentioned on this previous slide. This one here with our Guess Who board. We use the replace image, so I can actually demonstrate that right here. So we can either right click and then select replace image, or click on the image and click replace image. And then anything that I put in there will automatically size to that. So we'll do that again. And this time we will search for Beagle. We're going to look for lots of cute little puppies today. This cute little puppy, we replace that in there. And then it pops right into that nice size, that nice tile size, so we don't have to worry about it. There, of course, not that I remember, there were not any beagles in The Great Gatsby, but this guy's just too cute. He's just going to stay there for now. All right. There are some additional formatting options that you can do. I don't usually do too much with these, but I always like to mention it. You can use these tools to resize or change the ratios of the image if you would like. You can change the position where it is in the slide. You can do some recoloring, which I don't usually do, but again, it's always good to know what your tools are. So I could recolor this to be dark 1, which is like this weird teal color. I could go to, ooh, that's a little creepy. All right. We're going to undo that to no recoloring. But there you go. All good options just to know what's there. Make some minor adjustments if you want to make it more transparent, change the brightness, the contrast, all of those kinds of things. And finally, if you want to add a drop shadow to the side of it and add a reflection underneath the image. All right, we'll leave those on because why not? We're just playing around to see what it all can do. Okay, so moving right along down our insert menu, we have an insert text box. These are ones that most people are familiar with. You can select a spot on your slide and insert any text that you would want. Super easy to add your text, but there it is, and then you can move it to wherever you want it on your slide. Great. All right, insert audio. This one is really cool. You can add audio to your slide. The one kind of restriction that you have is it needs to be audio that lives in your Google Drive. There is no other place that you can pull it from. So I happen to have a handful of YouTube's free audio library, like free to use audio that I have downloaded to put in some videos. So we'll grab this one because I know it's pretty good. And I'll put that into my slides. And then it shows up as this cool little audio button right here. I could make it bigger or smaller if I would like to. Move it around my slide, put it wherever I want. So we're just going to kind of stack things up down this side over here. I can set how I want it to play, whether it starts playing when I click on it or if it starts playing automatically. Set the volume when presenting. If you want the audio to loop, if it's short, you might want to do that. Or if I want it to stop when I change the slides. When I go to the next slide, does it keep playing till the end of the song? Or if it's looping, infinitely loop. Or you change the slide, it stops. So you can set all those settings, and then you are good to go. Super cool tool. I've seen lots of people use this for accessible audio instructions for students. So they record their text, they save that file to their, record the text of the slide, save that file to Google Drive, add that audio to it so students can click on it and then have the slide read to them as from their instructor. So kind of an alternative to some of the other tools such as Google Read and Write or other accessible reader tools. All right, cruising right down, we're going to add video. You may have used this one. Most people have added a video to here. We're going to grab my absolute favorite. We're going to go to Crash Course, and we're going to grab Intro to Psychology. That looks like a good one. Here's our Intro to Psychology video from Crash Course, and I can add my video here, but I do have some options on this right sidebar. I can play on click. I can play automatically when I go to the slide. If I want to just hit when the slide is started, the video will start. Or I can manually just click play when I'm ready to start it. So we'll leave it on click for now. But I have my other favorite option is setting a start and end time for the video. So if I know that I want this video to start, just going to kind of click here. And this is, what time was this? 4:04. I can enter in start time as 4:04. And I want to play it to here, 7:13. Because that's the only bit that I want my students to be able to watch at this particular time, because that's the part that's relevant for this lesson. I can say that the video will start at 4:04, end at 7:13, and it will only play that chunk of video. So they won't see the beginning bit, and they won't see if there's any more. It will just clip out that section. And then if you didn't want the audio, you could mute the audio. That is up to you. So we'll see what that looks like if I pop this into presenter view again. So here we have that video. When I click play, I have the audio muted in the presentation, so you won't hear anything because I'm going to talk over it. But it will start. Here we go. So it'll start playing, and we see that it started at 4:04. And if we watch this for 3 minutes, I'm not going to do that. It would end at 7:13 like I asked it to. So you can see that it hasn't loaded past that point. It's only going to go to that little bit. All right. We don't need to watch all of that, but that is how you do that. So a super cool trick. I really like that because it keeps the video to just the part that you really want to show students. All right. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Now that we've got that going, and we'll keep stacking up all of our tools from the insert menu. All right. So then we can add shapes. These are super useful for building game elements, which is what our fourth topic is, how you build your own game. So you can add these different shapes to be your game pieces. So for example, if I wanted something that had tiles or some kind of card, I can use this rounded edge square to create kind of a card looking piece. I can change the color of this card. We'll make this nice, lovely pink. I can change the border to match or be different, whatever you like. And now I have this card that's on my slide, which is super great. I can, of course, change the size of it, make it bigger, smaller, whatever you need. But I can copy and paste and get multiple of them so that you can have as many as you need for your particular game, whatever that might be. All right, so we've got 2 of those little shapes there. Perfect. All right, there are 4 different shape menus. So you've got kind of your standard shapes, a set of different arrows and kind of other directional shapes. You've got these call outs, which are pretty cool. You've got like, these like speech bubbles, and then some sort of banners, and then different number of edged shapes, and some equation mathematical symbols as well that you can insert really easily. You can make a table just like you can in Google Docs in your slide. So if that's helpful, you can have a table. This was a 3x2 table. So there we go. I've got my columns and I can add text there. We'll just drag you down to the bottom. If I need to make it smaller, I can, of course, drag the corner and shrink it down. Oops, there we go. Moving it over there. Beautiful. Those are format options so we can see again. And then I have a table. Whatever we want to put in there, whatever you need to make for that table. You can change your color options, all that stuff as well, using your border color on your line tool. All right, insert menu. We're cruising on down. You can insert a chart. The best part about this is that you can pull one right from Google Sheets. So if I open these up, it's going to pull up all the charts that I have in all of the different spreadsheets that I have in my Google Drive. See if I can find the one I'm looking for today. Maybe not. That's okay. So I'll just pull these spreadsheets from those particular charts. All right. You can insert a diagram. This isn't really the way that I like to build things, but it is an option. I tend to make diagrams by using the shapes and adding lines to my shapes. Things like these arrows and doing kind of an arrow like this where it's going to go across different pieces like that. So you grabbed an arrow. I can change the color. I can change the thickness of my arrow. And I can change I can change the type of line. If it's going to be a dotted line, let's make this a dotted arrow. And I can change what each end is. So we can make this a square. And this end will be this kind of arrow. There we go. So that's the kind of line I made there. You can change all of those features right in there. All right, I jumped ahead because then was one that I really like that maybe doesn't get the greatest. A lot of people look down on Wordart, and I think you're missing out because Wordart is awesome. We're going to say Wordart rocks. I used a Shift-Enter to make multiple lines. The number of times that I have accidentally messed this up is uncountable. Enter will save it. It's going to enter in this kind of boring-looking Wordart because it's Arial font. It's not very big. It's kind of blah. But when I come to my font, I can now start grabbing some of my really cool fonts and making something look really cool. So I happen to know that I've got some good fonts in here. We're going to grab, there's the one I wanted. I wanted the Butcherman font because this one is like fun and Halloween-y. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting close. And I can make this text a nice, like, orangey. And we'll make this one nice and black, and we'll get nice and thick. There we go. So that looks much cooler now. I also have those same formatting options, so I could add a nice drop shadow. And these I kind of sometimes do add a drop shadow with. So we'll make this, increase some distance so that you can see it a little better. There we go. And change the angle on it a little bit. Let's go this way. We want to go that side. Yeah. That looks pretty good. Then how much blur do I want? Do I want a lot of blur? Do I want no blur where it looks like it's kind of got a thick shadow on it? Super cool. I like that. All right. So Wordart is pretty cool. You can change those fonts that you have anytime you want. Add additional fonts to your Google Slides by going to this More Fonts option at the top of your font list. So let's go take a look at that. So here's the fonts. I've added all the ones that are checked, but you can kind of sort through fonts by looking at what kind of script, if you're looking for a particular language. I don't usually change that, but I can look at these fun if I want like a display font. There's some really great ones in here. I can grab, ooh, that's a nice one. No, we're not good at that. We'll go to the handwriting font. If you want something that kind of looks like somebody hand wrote it, those are really cool. Or if you just want monospace where each letter is exactly the same space, if that's the look you're going for. So some really interesting fonts that you can grab in here. You can sort by popularity or alphabetically. If you want to add one to your presentation, I like Monotone. That one's pretty cool. I can click OK. And there's my Monotone words. So for this one, I might want to make this smaller. There we go. I mean, it's really hard to read with that drop shadow on it. So maybe not a drop shadow on that particular font, but now that looks pretty interesting and cool and isn't quite as boring as that small Arial one that it always starts with. So Wordart is cooler than it looks at first glance. You just have to do a little bit of modifications to it. All right. And that has brought us all the way down to adding our animations. in our slides. So this is going to be to have things appear or fade in or whatever you would like on your slide. So kind of making it what kind of like transitions is kind of what I like to think of them as, even though slide transitions are a separate thing, I know. But I think that's really cool. So we can kind of make, well, let's make the dog appear. We're going to click on our whatever we want. I'm going to click add animation. There's the image of my little dog there. And I can say that I want it to, let's have it fly out to the right on click. I can set the speed, whether I want it to be really slow or I want it to be really fast. You can see how long it's going to take. So I'm going to do medium, which is 2.5 seconds, which feels like an eternity when you are actually doing it. So I'm going to click play to test it out. And then when I click on this slide, this video is going to start. That's step one. The word art fades in, and the dog is going to fade out to the right and take 2.5 seconds to do so. And then I can stop to see it. So there you go. All three of those actions on the one slide are all listed there. So that's how you create animations. And that is pretty much our whole insert menu. The new slide numbers, and comment are all pretty straightforward. So how do we use these tools? Oh, I forgot. There's one that I forgot. I gotta, before I move on, I did want to make sure that I demonstrated how you can arrange items. So I'm going to add a shape just as an example. So we're going to use the shapes. I'm going to do this. Oh, we'll add a 10-pointed shape here. Why not? And that's going to be right over where I have word art here in the top. We'll change our color again to be this. Oh, no, that's the background color. Let's make it this light green. But it's on top of my word, so I can't read it. I can use my arrange tool to change the order of those items. So I can send it backwards or send it all the way to the back, depending on whether I want it to be in between other items. So I send it to the back. Then now my words are on top. The shape is in the background, so I can read those, but the shape is there as a background item. So you can do that with any objects to kind of change their order on the slide to make sure that you can see all of the pieces that you want. All right. The other thing I want to mention is you can download, this is going to be a special one. We can download any slide as an image. So I can download this existing slide as a JPEG image. I will do that right now. There we go. Download it as an image. And we can close that. We don't need that open anymore. And I can actually upload it as a background. So we're going to go to a new slide. We're going to make it blank. I can click on background, select choose image, and we are going to browse and go grab that file from my downloads. There we go. And click done. And now I have this same slide, but you'll notice I cannot click on anything. The video does not play in slide 26 because it is the background of the slide. This is going to come in super key for building our own games. This is the key to a lot of what we do, is building all of your non-movable elements. These are our non-movable elements. I mean, it's a little bit of chaos, but that's okay. We can work with it. And adding movable elements on top of it. So I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. I did promise earlier that I was going to show how to import a template. So we're going to do that together by clicking on theme and then clicking import theme. And then I can go search my Google Drive or look through other presentations I have for the one I would like. I happen to know that I rename all of mine to include template on it. And if I wanted to import any of those templates, I could grab them right here from my Google Drive. And you can see all the ones that I've saved. Kind of some fun ones. So there we go. That is how you do that. If I wanted to add this Carnival Mardi Gras one here, I can do that. I select the select that theme and click Import Theme. I'm not going to do that because it'll change all my slides, and I don't want to change anything right now and have to go fix it while I'm making this presentation for you. So, but that is how you would go and do it. We're going to cancel out of that and close this window. Okay. Before we get into making our own games, there is a bonus tool that I wanted to show everyone. This is distraction-free mode. It's a Chrome extension. You can get it in the Chrome Web Store, and it creates full screen edit mode for Google Slides. So you can make these games, play them with the full class, have them project onto your screen, and if you have an interactive touch on your board, you can actually have students moving the pieces at the board right in your Google Slides, and you don't have to have this edit mode where you can see the slides that are coming up, have your banner across the top. So I can see that I have it turned on here. I can click on that little icon, the little square within a square, to make full screen edit mode here. I can change what these sides look like. I can make it dark, whatever you like. I kind of like mine to be default, but that's just me. But I could type right in the slide. It's the full screen edit mode. And I can click on to the next one. So here's some instructions that are in the presentation on all of the steps on how to do that. So again, it's that downloading the background again. But here's a quick demo of a demo GIF of how you can build kind of a really simple sort game. So I took my non-movable pieces, downloaded the image, uploading that image as the background. So those are not movable. Add my movable pieces in, my words here. Open up distraction-free mode, and then students can drag those pieces around and do them however you'd like. So it's a super cool tool. I really like it. I have it open right now. And to exit out of it, I just click on that same little icon in the upper left corner and exit right back out to full screen edit mode. All right. All right, I think it's time to get into, we'll actually use this in distraction-free mode. Why not? I like distraction-free mode. I use it all the time. So here we go, distraction-free mode for the rest of the presentation. We're in the home stretch. BYO games, how you can make your own custom games that are super awesome. So another classic, another favorite of mine. I was a German teacher, of course, matching. We did a lot of vocabulary matching to match the German vocab words to the picture so that it didn't actually connect to an English word necessarily to attach to the image for our students. So I'd make games like this for my students to play all the time. Hopefully you can kind of see what I have done here. I've inserted these little rounded square shapes. I have 4 across, 4 down. Pro tip, insert 4 across, lay them out the way you want. Copy and paste, select all 4 of them, copy, paste, so that you have those nice even spacing. You can even do that with 2 rows. Once you get 2 rows, copy and paste the 2. Make it easy for yourself. Work smarter, not harder. So I built these tiles. I can type in and add the different words, add pictures from using my file explorer right into my slides. And then when I'm all ready to go, I download that image, insert it as a background, and then I can put those same tiles over the top in a different color. This time I used a dark blue, and then I have a really nice matching game. So my students can select a tile and drag it off to the side, select another one, drag it off. If they get it right, they can then delete those tiles, or if they got it wrong, they can undo their options, and you're back to the game, and somebody else can go and they can select this one and this one. Nope, that's not correct. All right, undo. There we go. So a really nice matching game to practice that skill. Oops. The one thing about distraction-free mode, if you have an object or text box selected, you have to click off of it to advance to the next slide using your arrows. Okay. The game Codenames is super duper fun. If you haven't played it, I strongly recommend it. It's good fun. You have 2 teams and 2 clue givers giving clues to their team only. So this one has a red team and a blue team. Red team is trying to give a clue such as danger and then a number of words that match up with that. The number 4 here in this image example. And the teammates are trying to guess which of the words match up with that particular clue. The blue team, of course, is trying to get their words guessed. The ones that are in this kind of neutral cream color are no one's words, and the dark gray black card is what the game calls the assassin, the card that you do not want to guess, so you don't want your teammates to say that word at all. So we can really easily adapt this for the classroom by making our own words, making it curriculum connected, making it connected to a book we're reading, to the current unit in science or social studies, in languages, doing our vocab words. So here's an example of the clue givers board. So I made the teal team and the orange team because I think that's more fun than red and blue. And our no-go word is pavement. So they would see this sort of overlaid. So the way that I did this, again, you see those rounded edge shapes. I used some transparent shapes over the top of them so that you could read through it. So it was over the top of the actual words. And I forgot to show that. We'll make sure I do that before we close out. And they can keep track of their clues. So they'll give their clue to their team, and if their team gets it correctly, they can drag their little icon, their little card over the top of it. So this is what the clue giver would see. Meanwhile, the clue receiver would just see this blank board without any of those transparent shapes over the top of it, so they wouldn't know that pavement was their word. But we do have this black shape over here that we can then make the one that we don't want. You can, of course, make these any colors that you would like. I was basing it off of the original game. So there you go. A really great way to add code names, which is a super fun game, to your classroom and tie it to your curriculum. All right. Another kind of classic quiz game style. And we're going to pull out some more Märchen, some more German fairy tales with What Did Schneewittchen Get Poisoned? And I've got some images here for students to pick from. So the students might pick this pot of boiling oil. And so when I click on it, it takes me to a slide that says, oops, try again. I can click on that image and it takes me back to the correct slide. And when students select the apple, it takes them to the correct answer. So a really simple game using the tool linking in slides. So I'm actually going to, oops. We're going to exit out here and I will show you how to link those in slides for right now. So I have an image. I added all my images here. And when I click on that image, I can click on the chain link. We'll remove this link first so that you can see the full steps. So I click on my image, I click on the chain link, and then if it's going to be fussy, isn't it? It's going to be fussy. We'll do this one instead. Maybe it won't be so fussy. It'll show me higher. Nope, it's worse. Okay. We'll go over here, and then I can carefully scroll down. We're going to zoom out just a touch on my browser so that I can see everything we need. How is that happening where it's getting smaller and things are getting bigger? That makes no sense. Great, that works though. So when I click on this, I have slides in this presentation down here at the bottom, and then I can select the slide that I want, which I see is 38. So I'm going to scroll down to slide 38. And then when I click on it, it'll go to slide 38, which is my oops, try again. And I have the correct answer linked to slide 37. So we can look at that again. We click on the object we want to link, click on our chain link, select slides in this presentation, scroll to the slide that you want, way too far, slide 38, and there we go. All right, let's make this slightly larger again so that everybody can see what I'm doing. And now somehow everything gets smaller. This makes no sense. Okay, we'll look back here at these here. I did want to show the transparent shapes because I forgot to show that when I was showing the color changing. So these are just transparent little shapes here. And you do that by picking a color and then going to your custom color, clicking on the plus sign, and then dragging this transparency slider down. You can do this. If I've picked a color, we'll just make this one, this hot pink. Now it's opaque, you can't see through it. I can still go and click on this plus symbol and I can drag this down. I kind of like it for seeing through words but still seeing the color. Somewhere under the R or the A in transparency is where I typically go. And then click OK. And now I've got kind of this pale pink color on that slide. So that's how you can change the transparency of those so that you can see through them and then make the Codenames game. All right. The next one is not mine. This is from SPARCC's own Eric Kurtz, who is phenomenal. We all know him. We all love him. He's great. It's his Choose Your Own Adventure slides, a classic. And this uses that same tool of linking in slides. So this is kind of the instructions that he has built. I am going to just give you this as a resource because he's done some fabulous work with this. And this one's not mine, so we'll let him take it away. But you have a story that you're following through. When you click continue, it takes you to the next one, the next step, and then eventually you have a question. Do you want to go to the peddlers for supplies? Do you want to continue on without supplies? We're going to continue without supplies. We're pretty brave today. Oh, we did not make it. We have to go back to the beginning and try again. Oops. All right. Well, so that's how this works. We're just linking to different slides. You probably saw that. Let me scroll back up here, where when I clicked on this, you could see that it was linking to slide 58, which was page 2. So the really nice thing about linking in slides, you might notice that we're on slide 41. Hey, how is slide 2? How is page 2, slide 58? Super easy, because when you insert other slides, Google Slides are smart enough that it keeps that linking so you don't have to go and relink everything, even if you change it, which is amazing because we don't want to work smarter, not harder. All right, final topic for this presentation, digital escape rooms, whoop, whoop, which may be my favorite part because these are super cool. We're going to pop into presenter view one last time to make these work really well. This is all taken from the fantastic educator and consultant, Amanda Mills. She is amazing. She has an entire website dedicated to digital escape rooms and making them for education, and she is phenomenal. Check out her work. She is great. I'm going to briefly go over these, but she's the rock star here. I'm just sharing her resources. So she has put together this fantastic choose your own adventure sort of guide of what kind of tool you might want to use. Do you want to use Google Forms, Google Sites, or Google Slides? Of course, for the sake of this presentation, we're rocking the slides because this presentation is all about games and Google Slides. And one of the reasons I love them for Choose Your Own Adventure is that it looks like a room. It looks like you can make it look like a breakout room that you would actually go stand in and do. It's super easy to create templates. You can really link it to absolutely anything, and you don't have to have a linear path. You can do it in any different way, which is fantastic. So love that. Super easy. Let's talk about what that looks like, and let's go through it. Amanda has put together some examples. I have them linked here for Google Forms and a Google Site Room. We're actually going to look through the slide escape room, one of the examples, right now because it's just so great. So here are her instructions. Her contact information is right down here. You can get to her website, Educational Escape Rooms. Check those out too. But here we go. Let's look through her example. So we've got 2 screens of a computer and we are trapped inside the computer and we need to create an escape room to figure it out. So can we help her? Let's click to view the other monitor, see if we've got any clues over there. So we've got a Google Forms page here, Google Slides over here. We'll click here first because it's telling us to click here first. We're trapped. So what is our secret word to figure out? Maybe start clicking around their main room slide. There's something that can help us. Okay, let's go back to our main room. Well, let's click on help, see if that helps us. Oh, Oh, good. We clicked on help. So here's our questions here. Where do I click to add a link to a slide? Add a shape, make a slide shape transparent, edit the lock code of a Google form, copy the link for someone uses to complete a form, and copy the shareable link to the slideshow. Okay, so we know our 5 questions. We've got our 5 clues we got to solve. Let's figure those out together. So where would we click to add a link to a presentation? Well, let's try the chain link. Here's our first one. We've got the letter S. Back to the main room. How do we make a shape transparent? If we click on the color, yep, we can then make our shape transparent. Whoop, whoop, we've got H. And then our next question was, where do we change how do we set the lock on our key? A, yep. So we click on the text contains to make the text correct. SHA, what is the shareable link in a form? We click on send. R, and then we get that chain link from the middle. SHAR, you probably know what the word is now. And how do we share everything together? That's right, we click on our share button, and then we get that link and make it available to anybody so that anybody can view it. Beautiful. E, our final word is, of course, share. Beautiful. So how did all of that work? Let's pop out of presentation mode so we can actually look at what we did here. Because sure, that looks really fancy, but how did we make it? It's super easy. We used 2 different tools in here, and we used 2 different tools. So here are all of those slides. They have this eyeball with a slash, meaning they are not shared when you're going through the presentation. So if I were just clicking the next arrow or clicking through the presentation, it would jump from slide 47 down to slide 56. You would not know that there was anything in between there. That is one of the keys is making anything that you don't want to be viewable hidden in slides. First step. The second step is on these monitors. We can work with this one here. There are some shapes. So here there are transparent shapes. This shape is transparent. The outline is transparent. So it is an invisible shape over the top. And just like we linked the shapes and the images in the kind of classic quiz game, we link that to the particular slide that we wanted, as we can see here. So this links to slide 52. There we go. Same thing here. There's a little invisible box over the top. Same thing here. Invisible box over the top of our arrow. And if I go back up here, you'll see the same things over the chain link, the color, and over the share. And all we did, so these invisible boxes link to these hidden slides, and then you get your answer. There is, of course, this cat clue. That is, if you clicked on something else, you would get to this. This is not a clue. So there we go. How do you build all of these? Amanda Mills has these excellent planning doc, a template for your Google Slides, and a template for your Google Forms locks. Definitely take these and use them. They are fantastic. All of her work is fantastic. So check that out. So finally, I will pull this up one last time and recommend to say thank you for watching this video. I hope you have learned something. I know it was pretty quick, but hopefully it is enjoyable for you. Please connect with me. My email address and social media are on this slide. The bit.ly for this presentation is here. It's also going to be in the SPARCC resources page as well. And if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask. And as promised at the end, I said I would mention what the correct 2 truths and a lie were. The correct answer is C. I am not a championship jigsaw puzzler. I do love a good jigsaw puzzle, but I am no champion. I'm not even very fast at it. I just do it for fun. But I do love knitting and crocheting with my dog, and I have been learning German since I was 7 years old, and I think we're all lifelong learners. So there we are. Have a great rest of your conference. Have a great rest of your school year. And if you need anything from me or any questions about this presentation, please reach out. Thank you so much.